Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskritam.
Naranjaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devir Saraswati Vyasam.
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tado Jayamudiraye.
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu
Ashtapradasu Bhadresu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya.
Bhagavate Uttamasloke
Bhagavate Uttamasloke.
Bhaktin Bhavadir Naisiti
Krishnaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Vasudevaya.
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya cha.
Nandagopa Kumaraya
Nandagopa Kumaraya.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna. Welcome all the devotees for the morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Today we are going to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 2, text number 14. The canto name is The Cosmic Manifestation and this chapter name is The Lord is in the Heart. So please repeat the sloga behind me. Yāvan jāyete parāvare asmin
Yāvan jāyeta parāvare asmin
viśveśvare draṣṭari bhakti-yogaḥ
viśveśvare bhakti-yogaḥ
tāvat sthavīyaḥ puruṣasya rūpam
tāvat puruṣasya rūpam
kriyā-avasāne prayataḥ smareta
kriyā-avasāne prayataḥ.
word by word meaning. Please repeat behind me. Yāvat,
Yāvat.
as long as.
Edge.
Na, does not.
Does not.
Jāyeta,
Jāyeta.
develop.
Develop.
Para, transcendental.
Transcendental.
Avare, mundane.
Seer.
Asmin,
Asmin.
in this form of.
Form.
Viśva-īśvare,
Viśveśvare.
the Lord of all worlds.
The Lord of our words.
Draṣṭari,
Draṣṭari.
unto the seer.
Seer.
Bhakti-yogaḥ,
Bhakti-yogaḥ.
devotional service.
Devotional service.
Tāvat,
Tāvat.
so long. Sthavīyaḥ,
Sthavīyaḥ.
the gross materialist.
The gross
Puruṣasya,
puruṣasya.
of the virāṭ-puruṣa.
The virāṭ-puruṣa.
Rūpam,
Rūpam.
universal form.
Universal form.
Kriyā-avasāne,
Kriyā-avasāne.
at the end of one's prescribed duties.
One's prescribed duties.
Prayataḥ,
Prayataḥ.
with proper attention.
With proper attention.
Smareta,
Smareta.
one should remember.
Remember.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanavandi S.C. Bhakti-yogaḥ Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Translation, please repeat behind me. Unless the gross materialist
Unless the gross
Under the
list
develops a sense of
develops a sense of
loving service unto the Supreme Lord,
loving service unto the Supreme Lord,
the seer of both the transcendental and material worlds,
the seer of both the transcendental and material worlds,
he should remember
he should remember
or meditate upon the
or meditate upon the
universal form of the Lord
the universal form
of the Lord
at the end of his prescribed duties.
at the end
at
of
the
his
of
prescribed
prescribed
duties.
duties.
Purport. The Supreme Lord is the seer of all worlds, both material and transcendental. In other words, the Supreme Lord is the ultimate beneficiary and enjoyer of all worlds, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 5.29. The spiritual world is the manifestation of his internal energy, and the material world is the manifestation of his external potency. The living entities are his original potency. And by their own choice, they can live either in the transcendental or material worlds. The material world is not a fit place for living entities because they are spiritually one with the Lord, and in the material world, the living entities become conditioned by the laws of material world. The Lord wants all living entities who are his parts and parcel to live with him in the transcendental world. And for enlightening conditioned souls in the material world, all the Vedas and revealed scriptures are there, expressly to recall the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. Unfortunately, the conditioned living entities, although suffering continuously the threefold miseries of conditioned life, are not very serious about going back to Godhead. It is due to their misguided way of living, complicated by sins and virtues. Some of them who are virtuous by deeds begin to re-establish the lost relation with the Lord, but they are unable to understand the personal feature of the Lord. The real purpose of life is to make contact with the Lord and be engaged in his service. That is the natural position of living entities. But those who are impersonalist and are unable to render any loving service to the Lord, having been advised to meditate upon his impersonal feature, the virāṭ-puruṣa or universal form. Some way or other, one must try to re-establish one's forgotten relation with the Lord if one not at all desire to gain real happiness in life and to reclaim his natural unfettered condition. For the less intelligent beginners, meditation on the impersonal feature, the virāṭ-puruṣa or universal form of the Lord, will gradually qualify one rise to personal contact. What is advised herewith to meditate upon the virāṭ-puruṣa specified in the previous chapter in order to understand how the different planets, seas, mountains, rivers, birds, beasts, human beings, demigods, and all that can be conceived or but different parts and limbs of the Lord's Virat form. This sort of thinking is also a type of meditation on the absolute truth. And as soon as such meditation begins, one develops one godly qualities, and the whole world appears to be a happy and peaceful residence for all the people of the world. Without such meditation on God, either personal or impersonal, all good qualities of the human being become covered with misconceptions regarding his constitutional position, and without such advanced knowledge, the whole world become hell for the human being. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकये चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पाशाश देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। But we are continuing the same chapter. The Lord is in the heart. Sukadeva Goswami is explaining the Lord, about the Lord, how to meditate upon the Lord. For the people who are in this sloka particularly, he's explaining to the people who are the gross materialist, who are unable to develop a loving service unto the Supreme Lord. So why we need to develop a loving service to the Supreme Lord? Because our constitutional position is service to the Lord. So Prabhupada in multiple lectures he used to say, so our constitutional position is a servant position. We are all always will always happy with doing this service. Even though we are getting we are in the material world also, we are doing the service in the different forms. We are serving our family, we are serving our country, we are serving our community, we are serving in our office. There should be a owner, we are serving under them. This is the way we are rendering our service. Even though Prabhupada used to say, even though the people who are crorepathi's, they are serving at least they are also having the servitor mode. Even though they are not serving the other people, but they will serve, at least they take a cat or take a dog and they will serve them. You see, morning if the people are picking the dog and they are going roaming around the road, because their mode is always the servitor mode only. In human being's position is always the servitor position. So that is the reason by default it is coming on us. But we don't know whom to serve. Here in the material world, we came to the material world, but we forget whom to serve. Because of that, we are going through a lot of problems and we are serving the other than Supreme Lord, we are serving all the other living entities and we are getting into the problems. What is the problem? We are again getting into the same material world again and again. So again, also, Sukadeva Goswami here, he is mentioning the seer of both the transcendental material worlds. So the Supreme Lord is the seer of both the transcendental and material world. Transcendental world is the spiritual world, and the material world, whatever we are living, this is the material world. So, so both the worlds, the transcendental and transcendental material, the spiritual world and the material world, both are created by the Lord, both are controlled by the Lord. And here the Prabhupada is mentioning the purport, Bhagavad Gita 5.29. This is the very famous sloka. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram sugradam sarva bhutanam jatva mam santim ruchati. So this sloka is famous for, is the peace formula. How to become peace in this material world. So if you go to the, what is the meaning of it? A person in full consciousness of me, whereas Krishna is telling to Arjuna, a person is in full conscious of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. Whatever we are doing the sacrifices here in this material world, and the austerities we are following, everything for whom we are doing it for the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods. So his Supreme Lord is he is the all planets and demigods. He is the Supreme for all of them. And the benefactor of and the well-wisher of all living entities. So he is the benefactor. Whatever the sacrifices and austerities we are doing, he is the benefactor. Who is Supreme Lord is the benefactor. And he is the well-wisher of all the living entities. So people immediately then by hearing this, people will think that how come he is a well-wisher? Because we are so much of suffering, he is not at all doing anything for us. That's a complaint people used to have. Lord is not, I'm doing so much of things for Lord, but Lord is not. I'm praying to the Lord. I'm doing puja, archana, and I'm garlanding, I'm offering the things, but Lord is not turning into me. So Lord is a well-wisher of the living entities. So well-wisher in the sense, we should not deal with the Lord as a order supplier or a third-party person. So for that only here, the point is mentioning that we should have, the sloka of Sukadeva Goswami is mentioning that we should have the loving devotional, loving connection with the Supreme Lord. Yes, he is the well-wisher. For example, so if you are, in our house itself, if you take, if there is a winter season, if it is cold, our child is asking, I want ice cream. So we will say that we should not eat ice cream now. We need to take. I will give you later. When the winter climate is over, I will give you winter or raining season is over. I will give you the ice cream that time. Now, if you take, you will get cold. So this is the child is asking the ice cream. She wanted to enjoy the ice cream, but the father or mother, because of the loving affection, they are the first well-wisher of the child. So they are denying that we should not take. So this is the way they are denying, because that is the good for the child. If they are not taking that, that is good for the child. Because of that, they are denying it. We can't, in the outside world, we can't think like that. Suppose you are going to a friend's house, then friend's son or daughter, they are asking, I want ice cream. Immediately we will go and purchase ice cream, irrespective of whether their climatic condition, irrespective of their body condition. We don't think all those things. Immediately we will go and purchase the ice cream and we will give it to them. So we are not the well-wishers. We wanted to do, that is, we are thinking that our selfishness, okay, by giving this, that person is asking me, I have to give so that others will praise me. I wanted to do. So this is the selfish motive. We are doing this activity. But the real well-wisher, they won't have the selfish motive. And even though the child may go in the sad mode, if you are during the ice cream, the child may go sad, child may cry. But still, the father and mother, they will deny the ice cream during the winter or rainy season. The similar way, the Lord is our well-wisher. So Lord knows at what time and what circumstances, what need to give and what not to give. We don't know that, but we will ask all those things. I want this, I want that. All those things we'll pray to the Lord. I want, please, Lord, give me this, give me that. But Lord knows what is our capacity, what is good for us. So for Lord, for that only he is to do. Sometimes our prayers may fruitful in the sense we will get the result. Whatever we are praying, we will get the result. Sometimes it may not. So it is not confirmed. It is a 50-50 probabilities only always. So in that situation, we should not ask anything from the Supreme Lord. That is called loving service to the Lord. Because we should have the understanding that Lord knows everything, what to give and what to not to give. So I don't know. I'm not going to ask anything. My mood is how can I serve the Lord? So that is the devotional service. Devotional service in the sense, what I can do for the Lord with the love. That is devotional service. So if one person, until unless he is not getting in that mode, till that time, he need to pray to the virāṭ-puruṣa of the Lord. That's what Sukadeva Goswami is explaining. So virāṭ-puruṣa in the sense, they may not able to, the impersonates, especially the impersonates, they may not able to accept the Lord's personal form. So they supposed to meditate upon the impersonal feature of the Lord. Impersonal feature of the Lord means the Lord is pervading everywhere. Lord is everywhere. So in the previous chapter we discussed all the land, everything, whatever the earth, it is our Lord only, and the mountains are Lord's shoulders, and the trees and grass, these and all the hairs of the Lord. So all those things we discussed. So in that way, the one person, if you are not able to meditate upon accept the personal feature of the Lord, or unable to meditate upon the personal feature of the Lord, they have to meditate upon the virāṭ-puruṣa of the Lord. Virāṭ-puruṣa in the sense, what is the nature? It's the Lord. So that we can get the taste of the devotion, the tinge of devotional service taste. He will get bhakti. He will get the bhakti. There are three kinds of bhakti. There are three kinds of yoga: bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, and bhakti yoga. Karma yoga, so through which whatever the activities we are doing, so that through which we are once we surrender whatever the result of the karma, once we surrender everything to the Lord, then that is karma yoga. So through karma, we are serving the Lord. And jnana yoga, it is understanding the philosophical understanding of the scriptures and all those things, and through which we'll to understand the Lord. But the ultimate goal of jnana yoga is finally, after completing all the jnanas, after getting after jnanas, all the jnanas, what we'll understand, bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. Then from jnana yoga, they will shift into bhakti yoga. So in the Kali Yuga, that the ultimate thing is bhakti yoga. So that is the direct service to direct devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So unless until one person unable to make that direct service, he has to meditate upon the virāṭ-puruṣa and do the service. And also, there are multiple places in Bhagavad Gita, Lord is explaining about his superiority, and he is the superior person. From him, the material and transcendental, so the spiritual worlds are emanating. So multiple places he was explaining. If you see the sloga 10.8, this is one of the sloga, it is very important sloga. Chatushloka, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a 4 important slogas, Chatushloka. In that, this is the first sloga. Agam sarvaisya prabhavo bhattagas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam udabhava samanvitaha. What Lord is saying here, I am the source of all spiritual and material world. So here also, Lord is stressing the point. I am the source. He is the source. From him, the spiritual world also emanating from him, and the material world also emanating from him. So he is the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. He is saying that everything is emanating from me. Even the non-living things, living things, and the demigods, everything emanates from the Lord. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So the person that is the who knows perfectly this, that person is the wise person. And they will engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Because who knows that all the spiritual world, material world are emanates from the Lord, and he is the supreme, he is the owner of that. But here in the current situation, current material world, we are thinking that we are all the owners. That is the misconception. Once we understand that Supreme Lord is the owner of this all this material and spiritual world, then they will get into the devotional service to the Lord with their hearts. That's the Lord's prediction. And also, all this material, we are saying that how come we can say that all the material things or the non-living things and living things are part and parcel of the Lord? It's coming from Lord. Because Lord himself is saying that all the this non-living things we are seeing material world, this is the external potency of the Lord. And he has the internal potency as well. So, but the human beings are, the internal potency is super soul, and the Radharani, these are all the internal potency, Shakti. That is the internal potency of the Lord. And the external potency is this material world. And we, all the living entities, we are all called as a marginal potency. Because marginal in the sense, we are not fully material, we are not fully spiritual. We are together. Yes, we are the soul, and we are covered with the material thing, this gross body. So the gross body is material and the soul is spiritual. So that's why it is called marginal. So we are in the sense, we are in the marginal potency of the Lord. We have the options. So that's what Prabhupada is mentioned. They mentioned here. We have the options. By their own choice, they can live in either transcendental and material world. So this is our choice. Whatever, since we are coming to this material world, because of our choice, we are coming to we are in the material world. Otherwise, our original position is the transcendental world. When we get into the envy on the Lord, and Lord sees an enjoyer, by hearing that he is the Bhokta Ram. Bhokta means who is the enjoyer. Whatever the asaris we are doing, he is the only enjoyer, he is only the benefactor. By understanding that, the living entities should understand that he is the supreme, he is the enjoyer of everything, he is the owner of this material and spiritual world. So we are nothing belongs to us. So, but since we have the misconception that this material world is made for our enjoyment, when we are getting into the enjoying propensity here, because of our enjoying propensity only, Lord put us in this material world and try to understand your position, then you come back to me. For that reason only Lord put us in this material world. But in even coming back to this material world, we are again and again, without understanding the Lord's plan, without understanding Lord is the owner, Lord is the ultimate benefactor, Lord is the enjoyer. Without understanding that, we are trying to do all these activities. We are trying to lord it over this material world. We are trying to become enjoying this material world. We are trying to owner of this material world. And because of that, we are getting into the repeated birth and death. But by the grace of the pure devotees of the Lord, by the grace of other devotees, once person get into the touch of devotional in the bhakti yoga, then through the bhakti yoga, the transcendental knowledge. For that reason only, the Lord provided all the Vedas and scriptures in this material world to understand that Lord is the ultimate benefactor, Lord is the owner for everything. So understand that only Vedas and Upanishads are there in this material world. So by the grace of the spiritual master, or by the grace of a pure devotees of the Lord, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kind of acharyas, we will get into the mode of bhakti. From there, we are practicing the bhakti. We are there we are getting into the understanding the scriptures. There we are understanding that whatever we are doing in this material world, these are all keeping us in this material world only, is not going to give us any benefit. No way it is going to benefit for our next life. So it is because of our activities only we are getting the next life. So whatever we are doing this material world, it is creating the next life. But after understanding this scriptures, we will get into the path of devotional activities, because we are aspiring not to get in this material world again, because the material world is full of suffering. So Krishna himself is saying in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, this is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. When we talking about this material world, this is a temporary and this full of suffering. This place is called Mrityu Loka. The demigods, they is representing this earth planet as a Mrityu Loka. So Mrityu Loka means the place where the death is happening always. So each and every second, the death is happening in this material world. Somewhere other living entities is leaving this material world. So this material world is full of miseries, and it's a place of miseries, full of problems, and death is happening in this material world. So the person who understand this properly, who realize that this is not our permanent place. So because of our with improper understanding, we are trying to audit over this material world. So we have to go out of this material world. Once you understand that, then that person will do the devotional activities. So unless we are developing that kind of mood, so what is the advice is giving? So you need to, Sukadeva Goswami is giving the advice, the person need to meditate upon the universal form of the Lord. So that is our duty. So our duty, even in this material world or in the spiritual world, our ultimate, we will call it as a swadharma. Our swadharma is serving the Lord only. Even though you are in material world, we are once we become a devotee, we are serving the Lord in any form. We are preaching, we are doing the Archa Vigraha Aradhana, we are distributing the books, we are distributing the knowledge about the Lord. So these are all the devotional service. So that is the devotional service we are doing in this material world. But the spiritual world also, there we may get the chance to personally serve the Lord. And there also we are going to serve the Lord. So serving the Lord is the ultimate, our position, all the living entities' position is serving the Lord. That is the realization we need to come up with in this very material life. So for that only we are discussing, every day we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we are reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. All those things why we are doing, to understand that we are the servant of the Lord, and our position is servant, and we have to leave this. This is not a correct place we are living here. It is kind of a dukkhalayam and ashashvatam. It is temporary. So we have to go back to Gaudiya. So we should not make any plans to live in this world permanently, and we should not try happiness also in this material world. So if you ask the people, non-devotees who are outside, who don't know of the scriptures and all, what is the goal of life? Somebody will say that I want to be happy. So you are in the mistaken place. Lord himself is saying it is dukkhalayam. In that place you are coming and you are trying to be happy. You are establishing to try to live permanently. So, but the time is the factor. Kala is the factor. So we are going through the 4 changes: birth, death, old age, and disease. So it is sweeping us with the Kala is sweeping us from this material world. Then again, because of our desires are not completed, then again we are taking birth again and again. So until we realize that our only work is to do the service to the Lord, till that time we have to be here and we have to pray. So this is the training place kind of. Here we need to learn the scriptures, understand we have a service to the Lord, to do the service here, so that the same service we can go back to Gaudiya, and there also we can do it. So that is the swadharma of all the living entities. So our dharma is to do the devotional service towards the Lord. So to understand that, we are all in this material world. So the impersonalist or the non-devotees, they can't accept the Lord's personal form or Lord personal place where he is resides, and Lord's ownership also they may not able to understand. So till that time, they have to see the nature, the living entities, or all other things as a part and parcel of the Lord through the Lord's form, so that they can develop their bhakti from in this life, and they can slowly come into the bhakti yoga. So that is the explanation this sloga today. Hare Krishna. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.